Sophia's baby was dead inside her womb. "It's not a miscarriage, Mrs. Tillman," the nurse said with pity. "Someone poisoned the baby inside of you." Sophia was shocked. How is that possible? The nurse paused. "The doctor ordered a blood panel because this is your 4th failed pregnancy in 3 years. We found synthetic hormones, abortion pills, enough to terminate a 3-month..." Sophia's mouth went dry. She had spent 3 years doing everything to conceive, and now someone had been killing them. I would never take those," she claimed. The nurse's expression softened. "There may be someone else was giving them to you. What kind of monster would do that to me?" Sophia asked, fighting back tears. The nurse patted her back and left the room. Sophia's thoughts raced. Had each been deliberately aborted? What if Victor had poisoned her? But why would he? He needed an heir for his grandfather's will. It couldn't have been Victor, she thought, trying to convince herself. The doctor entered with worse news. "Sophia, the repeated ingestion has caused permanent damage. Your fallopian tubes are scarred. You'll likely never conceive again." The words crushed her. Her trembling fingers texted Victor the devastating news. Sophia thought being barren was the worst thing that could happen to her. She had no idea the real nightmare was just beginning. At Tillman Manor, Victor tossed his phone onto his desk. "She's barren," he announced coldly to the woman on his couch. "Barren?" Laura's eyes lit up. "That pathetic little wife of yours." Victor's expression remained ice cold. 3 years wasted. She's useless now. Laura moved closer, running her hand along his chest. "At least you had me to keep you entertained." Victor's jaw tightened. "Without an heir, my grandfather's will means nothing." "So what will you do?" Laura purred. "What I should have done 3 years ago," Victor said coldly. "End this farce." Victor just decided to throw away his wife like garbage. But Sophia was about to discover the betrayal went much deeper than she imagined. An hour later, Victor stood in Sophia's hospital room, Laura beside him. "Your baby is dead, just like any illusion I had about this marriage," Victor said sharply. "What are you saying, Victor?" "I never loved you, Sophia. Not for one day. I only married you because my grandfather forced me." Sophia couldn't hold back her tears. Laura laughed cruelly. "Did you really think cooking his favorite meals would make him love you? You were just an obligation. You were sleeping with him." Sophia's voice broke. "The entire time?" Laura smiled. "Every time you were at those fertility appointments, I was in his bed." Victor looked at Sophia like she was nothing. "We're done. I want a divorce." "Victor, I was poisoned. Someone killed our babies. Stop making excuses," Laura sneered. Victor dropped papers on her bed. "Sign these. My lawyer will handle the rest." "You signed a prenup," Laura added with venom. "You'll leave with nothing." They walked out, leaving Sophia alone, bleeding and broken. Sophia had just lost everything. Her babies, her husband, her dignity. But she had no idea that standing in the rain outside Victor's mansion would break her even further. After discharge, Sophia returned to Tillman Manor in the pouring rain. Her fingers trembled as she rang the doorbell. Victor answered, holding a folder. "What are you doing here?" "Victor, please, can we just talk?" "There's nothing to talk about." He thrust the divorce papers at her. "Sign them and leave." "After 3 years, this is how it ends? You can't give me a child. What use are you?" Her voice cracked. "I was poisoned, Victor." "Enough with the victim act," he said coldly. "Get off my property." He closed the door in her face. Sophia stood in the rain, divorce papers clutched in her hands with nowhere to go. Victor had destroyed her, humiliated her, thrown her away. But Sophia wasn't going to disappear quietly. Not anymore. An hour later, Sophia stood in a 24-hour pharmacy, wet clothes clinging to her body. "I need sleeping pills," Sophia said quietly. "The strongest you have." The pharmacist hesitated. "I can't sell prescription medication." Sophia pulled out cash. "Please." After a long moment, he reached under the counter. 1 bottle. Sophia took the pills, her hands steady. Her tears had stopped. Victor had thrown her away like garbage. But before she disappeared, she was going to take what she'd craved for 3 years. Sophia was done being the obedient wife who cooked his meals and waited for scraps of affection. Tonight, she would take what was hers, and then she would vanish. 2 hours later, Sophia stood in the bedroom she'd shared with Victor. She'd used her key one last time. Victor was drinking scotch, reviewing papers. "Sophia, what are you doing here?" "I came to sign the papers," she said softly. "But I made us dinner first, one last time, for closure." She gestured to the tray, his favorite meal and 2 glasses of wine. Victor shrugged. Fine, make it quick. They ate in tense silence. Victor drained his wine. Victor, Sophia said quietly, did you ever want me? Even once? His eyes grew heavy. What kind of question? His words slurred. You were beautiful, when we first met. His head dropped forward. What did you, he mumbled, confused. Sleeping pills, Sophia whispered. Don't worry, you'll just sleep. Victor tried to stand but collapsed back, his eyes fighting to stay open. Sophia moved closer, her hand reaching for his face. For 3 years you never touched me with passion. Tonight, you will. She kissed him, and even drugged his body responded. His hands reached for her desperately, with hunger he'd never shown before. Hours later, Sophia woke before sunrise. Victor lay unconscious beside her, breathing deeply. Her body ached in ways it never had. For one night she'd had the husband she'd always wanted. Passionate, desperate, consuming. But it had taken drugging him to get it. Sophia dressed quietly. She placed the signed divorce papers on his nightstand and wrote across the top. Thank you for finally making me feel wanted. Goodbye, Victor. She took one last look at the man who'd destroyed her, the man she'd just used in return. Then Sophia walked out of Tillman Manor and disappeared into the dawn. She didn't know it yet, but new life was already growing inside her, a secret that would change everything. What Sophia thought was an escape was just the calm before the storm. 6 years later, fate would drag her back to Harrington, back to the city she fled, back to face the man who destroyed her, with secrets that could destroy them both. Are you okay? Are you hurt? Sophia checked her sons, Jaden and Jamie, with practiced concern, her hands gentle on their faces. Dr. Sophia Miller arrived, elegant and composed in her white research coat, her dark hair pulled back professionally. Soon after leaving Victor, she learned she was pregnant with triplets. Fear nearly made her give up, until she heard 3 heartbeats and chose to become a mother. But childbirth was cruel. Her baby girl didn't survive, and only her sons lived, becoming the reason she did too. We're fine, Mummy, Jaden said sweetly. Just a little misunderstanding, Jamie added. Alessandro cleared his throat. Dr. Miller, your sons hacked my personal research files. 3 levels of encryption. They accessed classified patient data and downloaded proprietary cardiac research. How do 6-year-olds even know what encryption is? Sophia's shoulders sagged slightly. Not surprise. Resignation. Like this had happened before. She looked down at her sons. Jaden. Jamie. Why? The boys exchanged glances. Then Jaden looked up at the professor with those big, earnest eyes that could melt stone. You overwork Mummy. Alessandro blinked. What? You give her too many projects, Jamie continued sweetly. She comes home tired every day. Sometimes she falls asleep at her desk. We thought if we could access Dr. Alessandro's cardiac research, we could help with the data analysis, Jaden explained innocently. Then you wouldn't have to give Mummy so much work. She could rest more. Both boys looked up at their mother with pure adoration. We just wanted to help you, Mummy. You work too hard. Sophia's eyes filled with tears, her brilliant, impossible, sweet sons. Alessandro's frustration melted into something like wonder. He looked at these 2 small children who'd committed felony-level hacking, because they wanted their mother to get more sleep. He started, then shook his head. That's actually very sweet, and deeply illegal. Sophia had rebuilt her life from ashes, but her genius twin sons were about to drag her straight back into the fire. In Sophia's office, after Alessandro left with a stern warning and a security upgrade request, the twins sat on her couch eating snacks. That was very naughty, Sophia said, though her voice lacked real anger. You can't just hack into people's systems, no matter how good your intentions. We know, Mummy, they chorused. Jaden absently loosened his collar and tilted his head with a small, arrogant smirk. But Professor Alessandro did say our security suggestions were remarkably sophisticated. He's implementing them next week. The gesture froze Sophia's heart. That exact expression, that precise head tilt, that confidence bordering on arrogance. Victor. Her sons looked nothing like her in this moment. They were mirrors of their father, down to mannerisms they'd never seen. The way Jaden's eyebrow raised slightly when he was proud of something. The way Jamie's mouth curved when he was thinking. Even the way they sat, back straight with unconscious authority. Jamie noticed immediately. "Mummy, are you okay? You look sad." Sophia forced a smile, pushing down the memories threatening to surface. "I'm fine, sweetheart." But she wasn't fine. Every day her sons looked more like Victor Tillman. Every day the secret she'd kept for 6 years felt heavier, more dangerous. She'd drugged Victor that night 6 years ago, conceived these boys through deception, and fled before he could discover the truth. If he ever found out about Jaden and Jamie, would he try to take them? Would he destroy her out of revenge? Would he expose what she'd done? The questions haunted her every single day. Professor Alessandro called Sophia back with urgent news. "Dr. Miller, the Institute is opening a new traditional medicine research facility. In Harrington. I want you to lead it." Sophia's face went pale. "Harrington? I can't go back there, Professor. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. Head researcher, full autonomy. Your own team. Double your current salary." Alessandro's expression softened. "Sophia, I know you have history in that city, but you've spent 6 years running from whatever happened there. Maybe it's time to face it. On your terms. As Dr. Miller, not whoever you were before." 6 years ago, she'd fled Harrington pregnant, broken and humiliated. A discarded wife with nothing but the clothes on her back. She wasn't that weak, desperate girl anymore. "I'll think about it," she whispered. Outside in the hallway, the twins pressed their ears to the door, listening intently. Jaden whispered to Jamie, "We're finally going to find Daddy." Sophia thought she could outrun her past forever, but fate was about to drag her back to Harrington, and straight into Victor Tillman's path. Sophia gripped her twin son's hands tightly as they walked through Harrington Airport, terror coursing through her veins. 6 years. She'd been gone for 6 years. "Mummy, why are your hands shaking?" Jamie asked quietly. "I'm fine," Sophia lied. Then she heard it. That voice. Sharp, commanding, but this time, desperate. "Please, she's only 5 years old. She can't speak. She must be terrified." "Victor!" Sophia's heart stopped. She turned slowly, searching for the source. There, across the terminal. Victor Tillman stood surrounded by 6 bodyguards, phone pressed to his ear. But his face wasn't the cold mask of rage she remembered. It was raw with fear. "I don't care about the cost. Double the search teams, triple them. Just find my daughter." His voice cracked slightly. "She's been alone for 6 hours. She's just a baby." Sophia felt something twist in her chest. She'd never heard Victor sound like that. Vulnerable, afraid, human. His assistant Mark placed a hand on his shoulder. "Sir, we'll find her. She is smart. She has the emergency number." "She's mute, Mark." Victor's composure shattered for a moment. "She can't call for help. She can't tell anyone her name. She's out there alone and terrified, and He stopped, jaw clenching as he fought for control. Sophia watched him take a deep breath, force his shoulders back, rebuild that wall of ice brick by brick. But she'd seen it. The crack in the armor. The fear of a father who'd lost his child. For a moment, she saw not the man who destroyed her, but a desperate father searching for his little girl. "Mommy?" Jaden tugged her hand, concern in his eyes. Sophia snapped back to reality. Her twins were staring at the man across the terminal with curious intensity, their young faces studying him. "We need to go. Now." Sophia pulled them toward the exit, walking fast but not running. "Don't draw attention, don't look back. Just get out." Behind them, Victor ended his call and scanned the terminal with desperate focus, searching for any sign of his daughter. His eyes swept across the crowd, past businessmen, past families, past... He froze. A woman. Walking quickly toward the exit. Dark hair, elegant posture. Something achingly familiar about the way she moved. Victor's chest tightened. No, it couldn't be. Then he noticed something on the ground near where she'd been standing. A bright splash of colour on the grey terminal floor. A child's crayon drawing, abandoned on a bench. He walked over slowly and picked it up. The drawing showed 3 stick figures, 2 boys and 1 woman. They were holding hands, smiling. Written across the top in messy crayon, Jaden and Jamie's supermummy. Victor stared at the drawing, his jaw clenching so hard it ached. Sophia Miller. Was she here? In Harrington? His phone rang, shattering the moment. An unknown number. Victor just discovered his ex-wife was in Harrington with children. But he had no idea those children were his, or that he would meet Sophia again in the most bizarre manner ever. That evening, Sophia sat in the passenger seat, while her friend Alina drove them toward their new apartment in the darkening twilight. "I still can't believe you came back," Alina said, glancing over at her friend. "After everything Victor did to you." "I'm not the same person I was 6 years ago," Sophia replied quietly, staring out at the unfamiliar roads. "I'm Dr. Miller now, not his discarded wife." In the back seat, Jaden and Jamie played quietly on their tablets. Suddenly, Alina slammed the brakes. "What the—" A small figure stood in the middle of the road, caught in the headlights like a frozen statue. A little girl, maybe 5 years old, pink dress torn and dirty, face streaked with tears that reflected the harsh light. She didn't move, didn't speak, didn't even blink, just stood there, frozen. "Oh my God!" Sophia threw open the door and ran toward the child without thinking. The girl flinched violently when Sophia approached, her eyes going wide with terror. "Sweetheart, it's okay," Sophia said softly, kneeling down slowly to make herself less threatening. "Are you okay? Are you hurt?" The child didn't respond, didn't make a sound. Her lips didn't even move. Sophia noticed the girl clutched a small doll tightly against her chest, her knuckles white from the grip. She looked closer. There was delicate embroidery on the doll's dress. "Cassie." "Is your name Cassie?" Sophia asked gently. The girl's eyes filled with fresh tears, but she remained completely silent. The little girl suddenly lurched forward and grabbed Sophia's sleeve with desperate strength, her small fingers clutching the fabric like it was the only solid thing in her world. Sophia's heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. This fragile, traumatized child reminded her so painfully of her own lost daughter, the baby girl who died during childbirth complications 6 years ago. She would have been exactly this age, the same size, maybe the same dark hair. "It's okay," Sophia whispered, tears stinging her own eyes. "I've got you. You're safe now. I promise you're safe." Sophia just found a traumatized child in the road, but she had no idea this little girl was Victor's daughter. Inside the car, Sophia wrapped the shivering girl in her coat, while Alina drove slowly toward town. "We should take her to the police," Alina said, watching the rearview mirror nervously. "No." Sophia's voice was firm as she held the trembling child. "Look at her. She's terrified. We take her somewhere safe first, feed her, warm her up, let her calm down, then we figure out who she belongs to." The little girl hadn't made a single sound since they'd found her. She just stared at Sophia with those huge, desperate, trusting eyes. Then, slowly, the child reached into her dress pocket with one small hand and pulled out a crumpled piece of paper. She held it up to Sophia with trembling hands, offering it like a precious gift. Sophia unfolded it carefully, smoothing out the wrinkles. A phone number, and one word written above it in a child's shaky, careful handwriting. "Daddy." "Smart girl," Sophia whispered, her heart aching with admiration and sympathy. "You want me to call your daddy? You want to go home?" The child nodded once, tears streaming down her dirty face. Sophia felt an inexplicable maternal pull toward this fragile little girl. If my daughter had lived, someone would have helped her like this. Someone would have kept her safe. Someone would have brought her home. "Okay, sweetheart, I'll call your daddy right now." In the back seat, Jaden and Jamie watched the little girl with curious, intelligent eyes. "She looks sad," Jamie whispered to his brother. "She's scared," Jaden replied softly, his young face unusually serious. "Like she's been alone for a really long time." The phone rang once, twice, then a voice answered, cold, commanding, dangerously familiar. "Who is this?" Sophia was about to speak to the one man she'd spent 6 years avoiding, and she had no idea. Victor stared at his phone screen, an unknown number flashing insistently. He'd been coordinating search teams for 6 hours straight. Every resource he had, every contact, every favor owed, was deployed across Harrington. His daughter was out there somewhere. The child who couldn't speak, but communicated volumes with a single touch of her small hand on his face. His world, his everything, the only pure, uncomplicated love in his entire life. "Who is this?" he demanded into the phone, his voice sharp and controlled to hide the fear clawing at his chest. There was a pause, then a voice he'd never forgotten in 6 long years. "Hello? I think I found your daughter." The world stopped. "Sophia, Miller." Victor's hand tightened on the phone until his knuckles went white, the leather of his chair creaking under his other hand's grip. 6 years of rage, confusion, betrayal, and unanswered questions crashed over him in a single devastating moment. But underneath all that, relief so intense it nearly buckled his knees. Cassandra is safe. Where? His voice was deadly calm despite the storm raging inside him. She's safe. A little scared but unharmed, no injuries. Sophia's voice was professional, controlled, clinical. Like she didn't recognize his voice. Like she hadn't destroyed him 6 years ago. Like she hadn't drugged him, used him, and vanished without explanation. I can bring her to you, or if you prefer, you can pick her up. We're heading to the Velvet Moon restaurant. Do you know it? Victor closed his eyes, forcing his breathing to steady, forcing his mind to focus on what mattered. Cassandra is safe. That's all that matters right now. Everything else can wait. He ended the call without responding, before his control could slip. Mark, his assistant, stood nearby, watching with concern. Sir? Did they find Cassandra? Yes, Victor said, already moving toward the door. His voice was ice cold, perfectly controlled, but his hands trembled slightly as he grabbed his coat. Mark blinked in confusion. Victor's jaw clenched. Get the car, now. As Victor descended to the parking garage, his mind raced with two conflicting torrents of emotion threatening to tear him apart. Cassandra is safe. My daughter is safe. Sophia Miller is back in Harrington. He should be focused only on his daughter, on getting to her, on holding her, and making sure she was truly okay. But 6 years of questions were screaming in his head, demanding answers. Why did Sophia leave? Why did she disappear without any explanation, any goodbye, any closure? And why, after all this time, after 6 years of complete silence, was she suddenly back in Harrington? Victor was about to come face to face with the woman who'd haunted him for 6 years. The daughter he loved was safe, but the woman he'd never forgotten was waiting, and neither of them was ready for the collision that was coming. Sophia sat at a corner table with the little girl nestled against her side, Jaden and Jamie on her other side. Alina had gone to park the car properly. It's okay, sweetheart, Sophia murmured, stroking the girl's tangled hair. Your daddy will be here soon. The child's grip on Sophia's sleeve hadn't loosened even slightly. Nearby, wealthy patrons dined at elegant tables, their conversations floating through the restaurant's soft lighting. Did you hear about Victor Tillman's daughter? A woman in pearls said to her companion. She went missing this afternoon. Sophia's hand froze mid-stroke. Oh, that poor mute child. The other woman replied. I heard she's only 5 years old, can't speak a word. Imagine how terrified she must be. Victor must be beside himself, the first woman continued. He's had search teams combing the city for hours. That little girl is his whole world. Ever since his wife abandoned them 6 years ago. Sophia's blood turned to ice. Victor's daughter. Mute. 5 years old. She looked down slowly at the little girl pressed against her side. No, 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 no. Her mind did the math with horrifying clarity. The child was 5. Her twins were 6. Victor had moved on immediately. While she was pregnant and broken, he'd already found someone else, created another family, another child. He hadn't grieved their marriage for even a moment. Mummy, Jamie whispered, noticing her sudden pallor. What's wrong? We need to leave. Sophia stood abruptly. Now. Sophia just realized she was holding Victor's daughter. The man she'd spent 6 years hiding from was on his way, and her sons, his sons, were sitting right here. Alina! Sophia grabbed her phone, texting frantically. Back entrance. Now. The little girl, Cassandra, looked up at her with confused, tearful eyes. I'm so sorry, sweetheart, Sophia whispered, her heart shattering. She knelt down to the child's level. Your daddy will be here any second. You're safe. You're home. She tried to pull away, but Cassandra's small fingers clutched her sleeve desperately, tears streaming down her face. No, please don't. Sophia's voice broke. This child reminded her so much of her lost daughter, but she couldn't stay. Not with Victor coming, not with her twins here. Jaden, Jamie, come on. But Mommy, the little girl is crying, Jamie protested. Now, Sophia finally pulled free from Cassandra's grasp and grabbed her son's hands, pulling them toward the back exit. Behind her, Cassandra stood alone at the table, one small hand reaching out toward the woman who'd saved her, silent tears streaming down her face. Just as Sophia pushed through the back door with her twins, the restaurant's front entrance burst open. Victor Tillman strode in with 6 bodyguards flanking him, his commanding presence immediately silencing the entire restaurant. His sharp gaze swept the room with predatory focus and locked onto the small figure standing alone at the corner table. Cassandra. His voice cracked with relief as he crossed the restaurant in 3 long strides and dropped to his knees, pulling his daughter into his arms. The little girl buried her face in his chest, her small body shaking with silent sobs. "I've got you," Victor whispered fiercely, his hand cradling the back of her head. "I've got you, baby. You're safe now. Daddy's here." For a moment, he was just a father holding his found child. Then his eyes swept the restaurant, searching. "Where is she?" A waiter pointed nervously toward the back. "She just left through the rear exit, sir, with 2 boys. Victor's jaw clenched. His arms tightened around Cassandra. She ran, again. Victor just missed Sophia by seconds, but Cassandra had seen her face, and Victor would find out everything. Alina drove in tense silence while Sophia sat in the passenger seat, her hands trembling. In the back seat, Jaden and Jamie were uncharacteristically quiet. "Why did we run away?" Jaden finally asked. "The little girl needed you." "Her father was coming," Sophia said, her voice hollow. "She's safe now. That was Victor Tillman's daughter, wasn't it?" Alina said quietly. "That's why you ran." Sophia closed her eyes. "Yes, Mommy," Jamie said softly. "Who was that?" Sophia's breath caught. "No one." "But we ran away like this," Jaden said with frightening perception. Sophia maintained a straight face. "He was just someone I don't get along with too well." After putting the twins to bed, Sophia sat on her couch while Alina paced the living room. "You need to tell me everything," Alina said firmly. "Right now. How did you get pregnant with the twins?" Sophia was silent for a long moment. Then the words came tumbling out like a confession. "I drugged him." Alina stopped pacing. "What?" "The night before I left." Sophia's voice was barely a whisper. "After I found him with Laura, after he told me he never loved me, I went back to the manor. I put sleeping pills in his wine, and she couldn't finish." "You conceived Jaden and Jamie that night," Alina breathed. "I was desperate, broken. The doctors said I was barren, but I wanted something, some piece of..." Sophia's voice cracked. "I didn't know I'd get pregnant. The doctors said it was impossible." "Sophia, that's..." "I know what it is," Sophia cut her off. "I know exactly what I did. And if Victor ever finds out about the twins, if he ever discovers how they were conceived..." She looked up at Alina with terrified eyes. "He'll destroy me. He'll take them away. He has the power, the money, the connections. I'll lose my sons." Alina sat down heavily. "Does he know the twins exist?" "No. I left before I knew I was pregnant, and I've kept them hidden ever since." Sophia wiped her tears. "But we're in Harrington now, and Victor saw me at the airport. It's only a matter of time before..." Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Dr. Miller. Thank you for finding my daughter. I'd like to discuss appropriate compensation. Victor Tillman." Sophia stared at the message, her blood running cold. Sophia's darkest secret was buried 6 years ago. But Victor Tillman was digging. And when he discovered the truth about her twins, there would be nowhere left to run. Sophia walked Jaden and Jamie through the pristine halls of Harrington's most exclusive kindergarten. Only the wealthiest, most connected families could get their children enrolled here. "Remember," Sophia said quietly, "you're brilliant, but please try to fit in. No hacking, no showing off. Just be normal 6-year-olds. "We'll try, Mummy," Jamie promised. The kindergarten coordinator greeted them warmly. "Dr. Miller, we're honored to have your sons." Their entrance exam scores were extraordinary. She led them to a bright classroom filled with children. "Boys, you can choose any seat you'd like." Jaden and Jamie walked into the classroom, scanning for open seats. Then Jamie froze. In the back corner, sitting alone at a small table, was a petite girl with dark hair. She sat completely still, her hands folded in her lap, her eyes downcast. "Jaden," Jamie whispered urgently. "Look!" Jaden followed his brother's gaze and his eyes widened. The little girl from last night, the one their mother had saved, the one who'd cried when Mommy left. "That's her," Jaden breathed. "That's the girl." The little girl, Cassandra, looked up as if sensing their stare. Her eyes met theirs across the classroom. For a moment, something passed between them. Recognition, connection, something deeper than words. Cassandra's face lit up slightly, the closest thing to a smile. She raised her small hands and began to clap softly, hopefully, as if welcoming them. The twins looked at each other, an entire conversation happening in that glance. "She's our half-sister," Jaden's eyes said. "We can't acknowledge her," Jamie's eyes replied. "Mummy said we can't let anyone know about Daddy." They turned away from Cassandra deliberately and chose seats on the opposite side of the classroom. Behind them, Cassandra's hopeful expression crumbled. Her hands fell still. She looked down at her desk, alone again. The siblings had found each other, but secrets and fear kept them apart. How long before the truth exploded? During morning playtime, Cassandra sat alone in the corner with her doll, watching the other children play. A larger girl named Tanya approached with her group of followers. "Look, it's the mute freak." Cassandra didn't react, hugging her doll closer. "What's wrong? Cat got your tongue?" Tanya laughed cruelly. "Oh wait, you never had one to begin with." The other children giggled. Cassandra's eyes filled with tears, but she remained silent. "Give me that ugly doll," Tanya demanded, reaching out. Cassandra clutched the doll tighter, shaking her head frantically. "I said give it!" Tanya shoved Cassandra hard. The little girl fell backward, her hands slamming against the corner of a table. She cried out, not in words, just a small sound of pain, as blood appeared on her palm. Across the room, Jaden's head snapped up. He didn't think, he just moved. "Hey!" Jaden was suddenly standing between Tanya and Cassandra, his young face fierce. "Leave her alone." Tanya blinked in surprise. "Who are you?" "Someone who doesn't like bullies," Jaden said coldly. "Touch her again and you'll regret it. She's a freak." "She's a person," Jaden cut her off. "And if I see you near her again, I'll make sure your parents hear about what you did." Tanya's face paled. She backed away, taking her friends with her. Jaden turned to Cassandra, who stared up at him with wide, amazed eyes. He knelt down. "Are you okay? Let me see your hand." Cassandra held out her bleeding palm hesitantly. "We need to get you to the nurse," Jaden said gently. He looked up at the teacher. "Mrs. Cassandra is hurt." The nurse cleaned Cassandra's cut while Jaden and Jamie stood nearby. The little girl hadn't let go of Jaden's other hand. "You're very protective of your sister," the nurse said warmly, applying a bandage. All three children froze. "Oh, I'm sorry," the nurse laughed. "You're not siblings. You just look so much alike. The same eyes, the same facial structure. I assumed we just met today," Jaden said quickly. Too quickly. The nurse looked between them curiously. "Really? Well, you certainly look like you could be related." Genetics are funny that way. Jaden and Jamie exchanged loaded glances. Cassandra looked between them, her young mind processing. She pointed at Jaden, then at herself, then back at Jaden. Her face formed a silent question. "Are we?" Jaden looked away, unable to answer. The twins couldn't claim their sister. The sister couldn't ask why. And the dangerous secret binding them together was getting harder to hide. Sophia stared at the email on her screen, her stomach sinking. Supply chain disruption. All medication shipments suspended until further notice. Her assistant Christian knocked and entered. "Dr. Miller, we have a serious problem." "I know. I just saw the email. It's worse than that." Christian set down a folder. "Our medication supply shortages have suspended research projects across 4 different regions. We're dead in the water without those supplies." Sophia rubbed her temples. "What are our options? I've been working on something." Christian's expression brightened slightly. "I'm finalizing a crucial contract with a medicinal ingredients supplier. If we can secure this deal, we'll have everything we need at competitive prices." "That's excellent news. There's a signing meeting tomorrow. I'd like you to attend. It would help to have our head researcher there to establish the relationship." Christian paused. "The supplier is the Harper family. They're one of the biggest in Harrington." Sophia nodded, not recognizing the name. "Of course. What time?" 10 a.m. at the Riverside Cafe. Christian smiled. "This could save the entire institute, Dr. Miller." Before leaving, he mentioned he'd arranged a small welcome get-together before work resumed at full pace. Sophia smiled. Thoughtful, but dinner would be her treat. Christian gave a subtle nod. "See you this evening." After Christian left, Sophia returned to her work, unaware that the Harper family contract would bring her face-to-face with the woman who destroyed her life 6 years ago. Sophia thought she was solving her supply crisis. But tomorrow she would discover that Laura Harper, Victor's mistress, her destroyer, controlled the very supplies she desperately needed, and Laura was about to turn business into warfare. Sophia's welcome dinner with the Research Institute board was winding down when she excused herself to find the restroom. The corridor was dimly lit, elegant music filtering through from the main dining room. "Hey there, beautiful." A drunk man stumbled from a private room, blocking her path. His breath reeked of alcohol as he leaned closer. "Why don't you come have a drink with me?" "No, thank you." Sophia stepped back, already calculating her defense moves. "Don't be like that." He reached for her arm. Sophia was about to drop him when a voice cut through the air like a blade. "Touch her and lose the hand." The drunk man froze. From the shadows, Victor Tillman emerged, his commanding presence filling the narrow corridor. His eyes were ice-cold, fixed on the drunk with lethal focus. The man sobered instantly, recognizing Victor. "Mr. Tillman, I didn't—" "Leave." The drunk fled. Sophia's heart pounded as Victor's gaze turned to her. 6 years. 6 years since she'd been this close to him. He looked older, more dangerous, more powerful. "Thank you," she said coolly, "but I had it handled." She turned to walk away. Victor's hand shot out, his fingers closing around her wrist like an iron shackle. "We need to talk. Let go of me. Not until you explain why you ran from my daughter yesterday." His grip tightened. "Not until you explain a lot of things." Sophia had avoided Victor for 6 years, but there was nowhere left to run. Victor pulled Sophia into an empty private room and closed the door behind them. "What do you think you're doing?" Sophia demanded, yanking her wrist free. "Getting answers." Victor advanced on her, forcing her backward until her back hit the wall. He planted his hands on either side of her head, caging her in. "Starting with why you ran away." Their faces were inches apart. Sophia could feel the heat radiating from his body, smell his cologne. Unchanged after 6 years. Abandoned? Sophia laughed bitterly. "I didn't abandon anyone. I found her on the road, called you, and left. She's your daughter, Victor, not my responsibility. You should have stayed until I arrived." "Why?" "So you could parade your precious daughter in front of the wife you destroyed." Sophia's eyes flashed. "The daughter you had with someone else while I was—" She stopped herself. Victor's eyes narrowed. "While you were what?" "Nothing. Let me go, you drugged me that night." His voice was deadly quiet. 6 years ago. You put sleeping pills in my wine and then you— "I did what I had to do," Sophia cut him off coldly. "And frankly, it was mediocre at best. Barely worth remembering." Victor's control snapped. His jaw clenched. "Mediocre?" he repeated, his voice dangerously soft. "Let me refresh your memory then." Victor crashed his lips against Sophia's in a punishing kiss fueled by 6 years of rage, betrayal, and desire. Sophia struggled, pushing against his chest, but he was immovable. His mouth was demanding, brutal, claiming. For a moment, just a moment, her body betrayed her. The same fire that had ignited that night 6 years ago flared to life. Then reality crashed back. Sophia bit down hard on his lip, tasting blood. Victor jerked back with a curse, touching his bleeding mouth. "Don't you dare touch me," Sophia hissed, her chest heaving. "You have no right. You're engaged to Laura Harper. Or did you forget your fiancé while you were assaulting your ex-wife?" Victor's expression turned glacial. "Laura is—" "I don't care what Laura is," Sophia interrupted. "Stay away from me, Victor. Stay away from my life. We're done. We were done 6 years ago when you threw me away." She shoved past him and fled the room, her heart racing, her lips still burning from his kiss. Victor stood alone, blood on his lip, his hand clenching into a fist. "Mediocre," she'd said. He touched his mouth, tasting blood and memory. She was lying. He'd felt her response just for a second. She'd felt it too. Sophia escaped with her secrets intact. But Victor's suspicions were growing, and the truth was getting harder to hide. Sophia sat with Christian at an elegant cafe table, waiting for the Harper family representative. "This deal is critical," Christian whispered. "The Harper family controls 60% of medicinal supplies in Harrington. I understand. I'll—" Sophia's words died as a woman walked through the cafe door, tall, beautiful, impeccably dressed in designer clothes. Laura Harper. Their eyes locked across the cafe. Laura was shocked. "She's alive. She's here. And she looks successful." Laura's shock transformed into a cold smile as she approached. "Dr. Miller, what an unexpected surprise. Miss Harper." Sophia's voice was ice. "I didn't realize you were our supplier contact." Christian looked between them, confused. "You two know each other?" "We have history," Laura said smoothly, sitting down. "Ancient history. Now shall we discuss business?" The meeting was excruciating. Nora wielded her power like a weapon, demanding higher prices, shorter delivery timelines, impossible terms. "These prices are double the market rate," Christian protested. "Take it or leave it," Laura said, her eyes never leaving Sophia. "I'm sure Dr. Miller understands the value of exclusive partnerships." Sophia stood abruptly. "We're leaving. We won't be blackmailed." "Blackmailed?" Laura's laugh was cruel. "Dr. Miller, this is business. If you can't afford premium suppliers, perhaps you should look elsewhere. We will." Sophia grabbed her bag. "Good luck with that," Laura called after them. "I'll make sure every supplier in Harrington knows the QR Institute isn't a reliable partner." Outside, Christian looked panicked. "Dr. Miller, what just happened? Who is she?" "Victor Tillman's fiancée," Sophia said bitterly. "And she just declared war." Laura had the power to destroy Sophia's career, and she was going to use it. 3 days later, the situation was critical. Christian entered Sophia's office with dark circles under his eyes. "Every supplier in Harrington has refused our business," he said. "Laura Harper blacklisted us across the entire industry. Our research is completely frozen." Sophia stared at the reports. Projects suspended. Researchers being laid off. Everything she'd built was crumbling. "There's one option," Christian said hesitantly. "The Queen family." "Who?" "Medical industry giants. Old Mr. Queen is dying from a mysterious illness. Every renowned doctor in Harrington has tried and failed to cure him." Christian leaned forward. "The family is desperate. They're offering medicine supplies at half price to whoever can save him." Sophia looked up. "What's the illness?" "Unknown. Symptoms are inconsistent. Test results are inconclusive. It has baffled every specialist." Christian slid a file across her desk. "But if anyone can figure it out, it's you." Sophia opened the file, her mind already working through the symptoms. This was their lifeline. The only way to save the Institute. "Set up the appointment," she said. "When can I see him?" "Tonight, 6 p.m. at the Queen Mansion." Sophia thought she was saving her Institute. She had no idea she was walking straight into Victor's world. Victor stood at his floor-to-ceiling windows, staring out at Harrington's skyline. Behind him, Laura paced angrily. "You can't be serious, Victor. We've been engaged for 2 years." "An engagement I never should have agreed to," Victor said quietly. "I did it to repay my debt to your family. Your father saved my company during the merger crisis. But I've done enough, Laura. I've promoted Harper Industries, secured your contracts, doubled your family's wealth. This is about her, isn't it?" Laura's voice turned shrill. "That pathetic ex-wife of yours. She's back for 3 days and suddenly... This has nothing to do with Sophia," Victor lied. "This is about me finally admitting the truth. I don't love you, Laura. I never did. And I won't marry without love. You didn't seem to care about love when you were sleeping with me while married to her." Victor turned, his eyes cold. "That was my mistake. One I've regretted for 6 years. I'm ending this engagement, Laura. It's over." Laura's face twisted with rage and desperation. "You'll regret this, Victor. You'll regret choosing her over me." She stormed out, slamming the door. Victor stood alone, his reflection in the window showing a man haunted by the past. He'd felt something when he kissed Sophia. Something he'd buried for 6 years, something that terrified him. Victor just ended his engagement, but he didn't know that Sophia, and all her secrets, were about to walk into his life tonight. At exactly 6 p.m., Sophia arrived at the Queen Mansion. The butler led her to an elegant sitting room filled with antique furniture and family portraits. "Please wait here, Dr. Miller. The family will be down shortly." Sophia sat on the velvet couch, reviewing old Mr. Queen's medical files one last time. The symptoms were bizarre, inconsistent, but she had a theory. That's when she heard footsteps on the grand staircase. Sophia glanced up casually, expecting to see the Queen family. Her world stopped. Victor Tillman stood on the staircase, descending with a young couple. In his arms he carried Cassandra, her small head resting against his shoulder. Their eyes locked across the room. For a moment, neither could breathe. Victor's expression shifted from surprise to something darker. Recognition, suspicion, calculation. Cassandra looked up and saw Sophia. The little girl's eyes went wide. She began squirming in Victor's arms, reaching toward Sophia. Sophia stood frozen, her heart pounding. The young man stepped forward with a warm smile. "Dr. Miller? I'm Gilbert Queen. This is my sister Florida and our elder brother Victor Tillman." Victor's unreadable intensity made Sophia's heart clench. "Dr. Miller." Victor's voice was ice. "You'll forgive my skepticism, but you look remarkably young to treat a case that stumped renowned international specialists." Gilbert shifted uncomfortably. "Victor, Christian recommended." "Credentials can be bought, Gilbert." Victor's cold stare never left Sophia's face. "I suggest you verify everything before we allow this woman near grandfather." Sophia met his challenging gaze with unwavering calm, though her heart hammered. She reached into her bag and pulled out a thick credentials folder. "You're absolutely right to be cautious, Mr. Tillman." Her voice carried quiet authority. "Which is why I came prepared." She opened the folder on the coffee table. Years of research publications, complex case records from abroad, letters from internationally recognized medical authorities. 7 years of specialized research in rare diseases, Sophia continued with professional grace. Detailed case studies, success rates. Everything you need is documented here. Gilbert's expression shifted to genuine respect. He reached forward for the folder. "Dr. Miller, this is exactly..." Victor's hand shot forward like lightning. He snatched the folder away before Gilbert's fingers could touch it, the possessive gesture cutting through the professional atmosphere with shocking violence. Sophia's breath caught. Victor held her credentials in his grip, his dark eyes boring into hers with dangerous intensity, stripping away every wall she'd built in 6 years. "I'll review these personally," Victor said, his voice dropping low and threatening. "Thoroughly." Cassandra whimpered, still reaching desperately for Sophia. Sophia stood frozen. The ex-husband who thought she'd abandoned his daughter. The man she'd drugged and fled from 6 years ago. The man she'd kissed 3 days ago. The man whose children she'd been hiding for 6 years. Standing 10 feet away, holding the half-sister her sons had befriended. With her credentials clutched possessively in his hand, and questions burning in his eyes that could destroy everything. Time stopped. Memories crashed over them like waves. Everything was about to explode. Victor now holds Sophia's credentials, and the power to approve or destroy this deal she desperately needs. Will he let her treat Hugh Queen, or will he weaponize her desperation into a trap that costs far more than money? Will Cassandra innocently reveal that Jaden and Jamie are his sons? And, when Victor finally uncovers that Sophia has been hiding his children for 6 years, will he seek revenge? Or will the passion that created those twins reignite and consume them both? To find out what happens next, listen to the hit romance drama audio series Twins, Love and Revenge. Available exclusively on the Pocket FM app. Install the Pocket FM app now within 1 minute to download 10 free episodes before the offer disappears.